Not many like the grumpy face of Gautam Gambhir, and a lot has been said about him as a player or as a captain in the IPL, where he would be sitting grumpily when his team would not be performing well. But I totally adore Gautam Gambhir. The reason being that Gautam Gambhir speaks his mind. There is logic behind what he says. There is a lot of cricketing intelligence, and he is not diplomatic. That is one terrific quality in the man. Now let me connect Gautam Gambhir to KKR, because Gautam Gambhir was the captain of KKR and he took them to 2 titles in the IPL. He was a very successful captain. Now what is happening to KKR now is that they have gone and sacked Dinesh Karthik midway, and they have brought in Eoin Morgan as the captain. Morgan, as we all know, was the 2019 ODI winning captain for England, and a lot of positives are there in what Morgan did. But what went wrong with Dinesh Karthik? 2.5 years he was the skipper. Midway, they decide to sack him. Who would be responsible for it? The CEO and the team management. And who's the owner of KKR? The main owner is none other than the great Shah Rukh Khan. And he has been seen in quite a few of the matches. So obviously, while Dinesh Karthik may say that he's relinquished the captaincy, he wants to concentrate on his batting, but he's primarily a wicket-keeper batsman. So they need to expect him, they would want him to perform better behind the stumps as well as a batsman. And it's very, very clear that Dinesh Karthik has been sacked midway and Eoin Morgan has been brought in. Gautam Gambhir makes a couple of very telling points, and it's very interesting to recount what Gambhir has said. So, and I quote him, he says, cricket is not about relationships, it's about performances, and honestly, I don't think Morgan can change a lot of things. He could have changed a lot of things had he captained from the start of the tournament. No one changes during the middle of the tournament. It's nice to have a good relationship between the coach and the captain, said Gambhir. He is very categorical about the point that changing a captain midway is not going to help. Now, I want to come in here on a couple of points, which is that why is Gambhir saying that? The reason being that when you choose a captain before a tournament, the captain brings in a sense of balance to the side. It is a captain's prerogative to a great extent as to what the team composition will be, what the balance will be, who are the players who would be chosen. And obviously, during the auction, IPL auction, the captain would have had a say in what are the players who are required. Of course, the team management is always there to back him. Now, suddenly, if you change the captain midway and you bring in another captain, can Morgan change the entire dynamic so quickly? It's highly unlikely. They've again lost pretty badly to Mumbai Indians, and you've obviously put Morgan under a lot of pressure midway. Gautam Gambhir goes on to say, little surprised, he's obviously leading KKR for the last 2.5 years. You don't do it in the middle of the season. KKR is not in that bad a position that someone needs to change a captain. Gambhir himself captained KKR for 7 seasons, led them to 2 titles in 2012 and 2014. And while he praises Morgan, but he feels that this isn't the right time to have made the change. Gambhir also refused to compare this with his decision to step down as the Daredevils captain in 2018. Remember, that happened when they had played 7 games, hadn't performed too well, and Gautam Gambhir decided to step down as captain, and he recommended Shreyas Iyer. Of course, Shreyas Iyer went on to perform quite well later, but regarding that situation, Gautam Gambhir says, my situation was very different to what DK's situation is. I only captained Delhi for 7 games and DK is captaining KKR for the last 2.5 years. So obviously the CEO, the entire management know his style of captaincy. I went to DD with a very different mindset that I want to change the fortunes of Delhi, but after it didn't happen for 7 games, I felt the need to step down. Currently, KKR are still at number 4 in the points table with 8 points in 8 matches, and they have suffered some serious defeats of late. I want to run you through a list quickly, which is very, very interesting. It talks about captains being changed midway. 2008, Deccan Chargers. VVS Lakshman was leading DC, but he had to quit the season midway due to an injury. So that is a case where probably they had no other option but to go in for the change. After DC's 6 games, Adam Gilchrist stepped in. 2012, again DC, Kumar Sangakkara handed over to Cameron White. This was 2012. Sangakkara was going through a rough phase with his bat, so he decided that he wasn't being able to perform adequately enough. So he set himself aside and allowed Cameron White, the Aussie, to take charge. 2013, Mumbai Indians. Ponting was roped in as skipper of Mumbai Indians and he opened with Sachin Tendulkar. However, his form with the bat wasn't of any help, and then Rohit Sharma was assigned captaincy duties, and MI went on to lift the IPL trophy. So that was a sure shot case of a midway change helping a team to win. 2014, Sunrisers Hyderabad, Shikhar Dhawan had a great season in 2013 and was leading the side in 2014, but after some losses, the management rethought its decision and they brought in Darren Sammy. 2015, this time we are talking about Rajasthan Royals when Shane Watson got injured. So Stephen Smith led the side to 4 victories in a row. Even after when Watson returned, he couldn't bring the desired results with the team, and the captaincy was finally handed over to Steve Smith. 2016, Kings 11 Punjab this time, and Punjab found themselves at the bottom of the table. Skipper David Miller was just able to get 76 runs in 6 games, and he was replaced by Murli Vijay. They couldn't do much. They finished at the bottom of the table. 2018, it's back to Gautam Gambhir, and as I was mentioning earlier, Gambhir was snapped by Delhi Capitals. However, Gambhir managed to produce only 85 runs from his end, and DC were in the last spot. He stepped down and Shreyas Iyer stepped in. 2019, this was the last stat that I have. Ajinkya Rahane had a disappointing campaign and was removed as the skipper of Rajasthan. Steve Smith was given the charge for the rest of the season. However, RR didn't make it to the playoffs. But suffice to say that if you go through all these stats, there's only one instance where one midway change leads to positive results, and that was Mumbai Indians. What I feel is that KKR have probably been unfair to Dinesh Karthik. Maybe Shah Rukh Khan should have raised his hand up and supported Dinesh Karthik a little more, which did not happen. The CEO and the team management lost faith in him. The team balance is already set. The team composition is set. What will Morgan do? In one of the matches when he stepped in against Mumbai Indians, they lost pretty badly. So like Gautam Gambhir says, changing midway is a pretty bad idea. You go with what you have, hope for the best, push, support the captain, and the team composition doesn't get upset. You have to ensure that that is the role of the team management. KKR have missed a beat here.